we don't know the Bible even as much as our least religious founding fathers used to know the Bible. And by the way, other examples, if I take you, for example, to Patrick Henry, you may be familiar with his famous speech, "Give me liberty, give me death." That speech that he gave in the legislature of Virginia, which, by the way, the legislature of Virginia met at St. John's Church in Richmond. So the legislature is meeting to the church. What happened to separation church and state stuff we're told the founding fathers wanted? Yeah, the legislature met at the church, and he gave a passionate speech that day. And in that speech that he gave, if you want to read it, it's 14 sentences long, but the same question, how many Bible verses? The verses he used, there were 11 Bible verses. He's just rattling off the cuff. He is so frustrated with what the other legislators are doing. He just got up and said, "Guys, you're wrong." And he just goes into a speech. This is just off the cuff. Same thing happened with George Washington. When George Washington, and by the way, these are the verses, and notice these verses. I'm not sure about you, but I'm going to bet that most people have not memorized Ecclesiastes 9:11 as a favorite Bible verse, or Deuteronomy 32. See, these verses here, these aren't the ones that we typically memorize, but this is what they had in their heart. This is what they had memorized, and this is what came out when the time was right, and they needed this. You go to George Washington. In 1789, he becomes president. In 1790, he decides, I need to visit every state in the United States because we've been separate nations. We need to know that we're a nation. So I'm going everywhere, every state. And in 1790, he had plans to go into Rhode Island. As he was going into Rhode Island, plans are announced. President Washington's going to visit Rhode Island. There's a Hebrew congregation in Newport, Rhode Island that wrote Washington a letter. And it was just an effusive letter. It said, "We so thank God for what you've done. What you've done for religious liberty, what you've done for our freedoms. We thank God has raised you up." And they just gushed all over him. It was just a really nice letter. And so Washington replied back to them. And replying back, it was a cordial letter, kind of a presidential letter. He said, "Thank you, that's really nice." And the letter that he replied back to him, man, had a total of 2 sentences. In 2 sentences, he quoted 10 Bible verses. In 2 sentences, these are the Bible. His letter to the Hebrew congregation is just about Bible phrase after Bible phrase after Bible phrase. That's what he used to craft that reply. So when you look back at founding fathers, you find that they knew the Bible. They knew it very well. They studied it well.